We are live.
Yeah,
Is it landscape still?
yeah.
It is well. What didn't I get right? But on our channel, it's not showing.
I don't know. I don't even. I've not used this system before.
Oh boy, somebody has joined. Say the video is not available. Okay. I think we're live now. I think we're live now. But sir, I think you will have to make your phone take your phone keep your phone vertical. But sir, I think you
Like
have to
this, you mean?
yes, because on the phone, the one I'm trying to use yet, I think it's better this way. Yes, keep it vertical. Yeah, I think it's like this. It's supposed to be this way. Keep it vertical. Yeah, I think it's like it's supposed to be this way. Yeah, good evening, sir. Welcome.
Yes.
Good evening.
Yeah, we can.
How are you doing? How was your day? Hello. We have please help us to share the link as you join. Hello. We have hi, hi, hi. Being a top employer for 11 years feels good. It feels energizing, motivating, meaningful. Hi, hi, hi. There is one thing we all have in common: a workplace where everyone can bring their human best.
The phone that does do like this.
Okay, I think we'll just go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone that is with us now. The best you can help us do is to share the link so that more people can join. Today, we want to be discussing something that we know that is quite very important, you know, amongst us immigrants, especially African immigrants in Turkey. That is getting to understand what work permit stands for and resident permits, what are the similarities and the differences, which one should you go for at what conditions, you know. People have a lot of questions regarding that. So I have my very good friend, my dear friend with me, Pastor Steve, with us today as we go deep to discuss these issues, to discuss this topic, and take some questions from every one of us. So I welcome you, esteemed Pastor Steve. Please, can you say hi to
Hello.
our audience?
Hello. Good evening to everyone. Thank you for having me.
It's our utmost pleasure to have you here.
Yes, sir.
So
Thank you. Thank you,
I want to start by asking you to give us a brief explanation of what work permit stands for and what resident permit stands for. If you can hear from you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Please, before we go ahead, I don't know, is it possible that the background music
Oh,
be reduced? Okay. All right. So, good evening once again. First of all, residence permit in Turkey, like it states, and it means that it is like an extension of your visa, or it is a legal document that you have to live legally in Turkey, while the work permit is a document that you have that gives you a legal right to work and earn in Turkey. A lot of people are working, many immigrants are working, but they're not having work permits. They might have residence permit, but they might not have work permit. It's a two different um, card entirely. If you're working, you need to have a work permit because that enables you to um, have health insurance. It enables you to have health insurance that is paid by the company that you are working with.
Oh, okay.
And that also frees you from any harassment from the police. Sometimes they come to some of these companies to check, and when they see foreigners working without work permit, it becomes an issue. And also, maybe you want to apply for a visa to another country for probably holiday or something, or like someone who is actually planning to relocate. If you're not using a student permit, work
mm,
permit also um, would be a good ideal because one of the things that the embassy would look at is what you are doing here in the country. And if it states that you are legally working, so you have above 50% chance.
mm-hmm,
And also, if you have a work permit, it is easier for you to have a bank account. Though there are some banks that can open with a residence permit, but that one also can be closed down at any time once the bank feels like they can close it down. But for work permits through your company, you
mm,
can have a bank account and then your salary is paid in there. So you can have a track record, which the government can also see when they look into your file. And
mm,
there is a system also on the government website that is called the e-government website, like edevlet in Turkish. On that website, your details are there. The company you are working at is there. The premium they pay you, like what they pay you, your net um, gross and net salary, and the amount they pay for your insurance is also there. Your social security is also stated in that e-devlet website, and you can actually download and see everything. And when you're applying for a visa, especially for the Schengen visa, for example, they will ask for those details, and it is from the website that you get all those things. So it's advisable, like presently in Turkey right now, it's advisable that people move from residence permit to work permits if they can find an employer that can be willing to do that. And the last I saw yesterday or so, the recent information circulating right now is that the immigration, they are sending text messages to people. I don't know if anybody online here has received a message. The
Yeah,
message
I
is
think I
stating
received
that
them. Yeah,
you did receive a message.
yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
the message is stating that if you have a residence permit, especially now that they're giving 6 months, you should swap to work permit, because they have given um, a kind of a timing to those on a short-term permit to move to either work permit or investment permit or school permit, student permit, because they might go back to not renewing the short-term residence permit, most probably. But we are still praying and looking at it. So that's it.
Okay. So when you
Then
said
if I
that,
should
go on.
Okay. Okay, then if I should go further to talk about probably the types of permits that people can get in Turkey. There are different types of permits that people can actually get in Turkey.
Okay.
We have short-term residence permit. Most foreigners, that's what they have. But that short-term residence permit is broken down to different kinds of under. There are different kinds of permits under it. That's why if you see somebody might be on a short-term permit and there is a letter like K, E, if you look at the back of your residence permit, you see it. So it has different types. So on that short-term residence permit, who are the kind of people that falls under that category for the short-term permit? For those who are doing research, those who want to establish a business here in Turkey, those who are attending a training like Erasmus or something, those who are studying Turkish language,
Okay.
those for tourism, those for medical treatments, and those who are citizens of Cyprus. Those are the people that falls under short term. Then they have another one that is family residence permit. Family residence permit is in two ways. One, it is given to the spouse of someone married to a Turkish citizen. And secondly, is given to the spouse of someone who is working legally here with a work permit.
Okay.
So if you're a man, you're a husband, you have work permit, you can actually have your wife to have the family residence permit. Or you can even bring your wife from wherever they are to come and join you as um, a sponsor. You are the sponsor, like family. So that can also happen. And your children also would be under you. Children under 18 can have family residence permit, but the moment they are more than 18, they cannot fall under the category for That's this thing. Then we now have the student permits. The student residence permit is for those who are studying
Yeah,
in
please, sorry, can I let me
Turkey.
take let me cut short a little bit, sir. When you said that if you have like when you have work permit in Turkey, you
Yes,
can so you can actually invite your family over from your country.
yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you can, because you are working legally, so it's your right to have your family with you, so long as the salary that you are earning can cover, their expenses.
The living cost, okay.
Yeah, the living costs here. So that's okay. Someone with a work permit can actually invite a family member, spouse, and children to come and stay with them. I think they do that in the UK. I'm trying to remember the name they call that program in the UK. Is it sponsorship or spouse something? I can't remember it now.
Oh,
Okay, so the
okay.
next one.
Somebody asked a question. Sorry, sir. Is Farida asked, is there any conditions to that? Like that's inviting your family member to Turkey if because you have a work permit. If you want to invite your family over, is there any conditions to that?
Family is family. You should prove that they are your family. Like, if you're the man, you should prove that this person is your wife. That's it. Once you can prove, like, the certificate, marriage certificate, and all, that's okay.
Okay, if maybe me as a single person, I have work permit, can I invite
Mm.
my brother or my sister or my mother?
Yes, you
Is
can invite your. Of course, you can invite your mother. For your brother and your sister, well, you have to provide documents to prove that. And I don't think the brother and sister thing covers.
oh
It covers only like spouse and children. It
oh
covers only spouse and children, but for mother, I am not sure. I mean, for brother or sister, I am not sure. Let me go from there. I'm not sure about that one.
oh okay. Thank you, sir. So you are going to talk about student permit.
Yeah, so we have student permits, which is given to um, persons studying in any of the universities in Turkey, and in whichever program that they are studying. But I must be quick to say that for anyone who has gotten a student visa and the person is still back in their country, in Africa or whatever place they are, they shouldn't come in now. If they come in now, they will not be given permits. Why? Because the government has changed the system. People who come in here for the purpose of study, they will be accepted. The applications for residence permit will be accepted from the 1st of June. And I think right now they are giving visas for student visas for up to 90 days of stay. So if
Okay.
you come in now, you should calculate that 90 days that it should fall in like after June. So that when you apply, even if you go to school, you have gotten your registration, your student letter, and all. If you apply for student permit on or before June 1st, you will not be granted. So
Oh,
that's the recent law that just came in. Now the admission for 2025 and 2026 session in the schools are open,
hmm,
but whoever is given a student visa from their country is not expected to come in until probably after June or from May. Okay. So after June, applications for student residence permit will be granted, but before that time, it will not be granted. And if their visa expires before 1st of June, they become illegal, even though they've paid school fees and all.
are you serious? Why is that? Why is that? Why would they?
Well, they are doing that because of past experiences, like uh, people go pay school fees, get student letter, and then get residence permit, but they don't go to school.
Cool.
So there's this irregularity, you know, between getting admission and then, like, normally school sessions are in two. Is it in two folds now? During the summer intake, and
Mm.
then the second semester, which is like now. Okay, so um, between that time until now, people can just come and say they've gotten admission in school and they are swapping from tourists to school students, to get
Resident.
permits.
Yeah.
But after they've gotten it, they don't go to school. And when the immigration goes to cross check, they look at the school this thing, no grade, no attendance, nothing. So they know that these people are not actually going to school. And they had to stop it because in 2020, I think from during the pandemic time, when they started giving restrictions to renewal of residence permit, people started swapping to school, and it was very easy. But after 2 years, they noticed that they still didn't go to school. They just have it, but they're not going. They just pay and they just get the letter and then come. So they had to stop it now. From 2025, they said only in June they will take for residence permits. You can get your admission at any time, but from June until when the session actually starts, if you apply, you will get. But when the session is closed, you have to wait till the following year.
Oh wow.
So that's it. Then we have long-term residence permit. Long-term residence permit is given to those who've had um, permit for up to 8 years. Those who have stayed legally in the country for up to 8 years, and within the space of that 8 years, you have not left or you have not stayed outside of Turkey for more than 6 months.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat that again? Because a lot of people are interested in that.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. So long-term residence permit is given to those who have had residence permit legally in Turkey for 8 years.
Okay.
And within the course of that 8 years, maybe you're traveling back home or anything, it must not exceed 6
6 months.
months.
Okay.
If you have stayed outside of the country within that 8 years, more than 6 months, like some people will travel back home, they'll stay 2 months and they'll come back. They'll stay 1 month, they'll come back. If it
Yeah.
has exceeded 6 months within that 8 years, you will not be granted long-term residence permit. Another major condition also that qualifies for this long-term residence permit is your bank statement. There must be a continuous inflow of your bank statement, of income. Once you can prove that you have income coming in and all that, you are the one taking care of yourself. You've not received any government help or any help from any government organization or association, that you are taking care of yourself, then you can qualify for
Wow.
this particular um, long-term residence permit. And also, this long-term residence permit is very expensive. Like, it's very, very expensive. The card is very expensive. And also, if you have work permit for up to 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
you're working in the country with a work permit for up to 5 years. At the end of without breaking it, at the end of 5 years, you can also apply for citizenship. You
Oh.
can either go for citizenship or you can go for long-term residence permit. And once you have this long-term residence permit, you have rights for everything, like rights to work, rights to live in Turkey, right to do business.
Hmm.
You will not need work permit anymore. The only thing that you wouldn't have is the rights that you wouldn't have is the right to vote or their passports. This is more like how do you call it, green card?
Okay. If
I
it's a
think
green card, how come I don't have the right to vote?
I don't know. People who have green card, do they vote? Does
Yes,
green
in
card
the
give
US.
them American passport in the US?
Yeah, in the US, you vote.
Okay, okay, maybe not green card. Maybe it's PR, like the one you have in Canada. Do people who have PR in Canada do they vote?
Will have to find out. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. So it's the same thing. Permanent residence permit, like permanent residence permit. Here it's called
Okay,
long-term residence permit.
now let me ask a question in that regard. When you say long-term resident permit for like what duration? Is it a one-time application or is it? Are you
No,
gonna
it's not
renew
a
it?
one. No, you will renew it. You will renew it after 5 years.
So what's the difference?
Hmm?
And yeah, and you say that it's quite expensive. So if I'm gonna
Mm.
be renewing it every 5 years, so why are they calling it long term? Because I
Even
know
the
that the
Turkish
normal.
ID card, even the Turkish ID card itself, it's like your passport now. It's like your international passport. Your international passport has a lifespan of maybe 5 years or 10 years. After that time, you renew it again. It's the same thing. Even the Turkish ID card have a lifespan of 10 years given to everybody. After that 10 years, they just apply for renewal. Now, applying for that renewal doesn't mean that you have to pay all those money process again. You're not going to do all that.
So
It's
what?
just send in the application, and though I've not done it for anyone for renewal, but we have to wait and see. We have to find out though. But I don't think you have to pay all those amount of money again, like they charge you when you are doing uh, normal short-term renewal. But at least even if you have like 5 years, or they give you maybe like 6 years or 7 years long-term residence permit, I mean, you are sure that at least in 5, 6 years you don't need to worry about going to immigration again to queue for that their wahala that they change all the
Okay,
time.
so let me ask you something. I want to believe that I'm asking this question in the minds of a lot of people. When you talk about a long-term resident permit, you know that you can apply for the short term. You can do 2 years. I think I know I've gotten 2 years before they changed this whole system.
They are not giving 2 years anymore.
And so that's what I'm saying. In the past, they've approved 2 years for me. Now you said that the long term is 5 years and is expensive. So can you throw more light on that? Like if you said that it's expensive, like how expensive is it compared to your short term that is 2 years or that is one
Very
year?
expensive.
Like how
It's
much
I
are you?
don't I don't I don't have a concrete detail, so I don't want to, because this is live, so I don't want to say what I am not very sure of. But I know that the long term residence permit is expensive, but I can't like specify exactly how expensive it is. But I have seen a video online that says that it might cost, like, I don't want to mention the amount because it is very
No,
expensive.
yeah, you can tell us. We need to know. And
Yeah,
the
I'm not, because I'm not sure. I've not verified it.
so
That's
you
why I
said you heard
can't
you
say.
heard you heard on a video, so they will know that it's not
Yes.
your like how much.
Okay. Well, I've heard like up to 100,000 liras.
That's like how much in dollars now. That's like 2,000
2000, yeah, around
2,000.
2000 something, 2500 or $2,800
Yeah.
thereabout.
Oh wow, that's for five
Yeah,
years. And so when you want to renew,
it
you're not
can be
gonna.
more than 5 years. It can be more than 5 years. I am not very sure, because when you say something is long term, it's long term now. It can be 10 years. I know that the Turkish card, their Kimlik card, it has a span of 10 years. Okay,
The
every one of
normal,
them.
the no,
Yes, the
okay,
normal Turkish people, the normal
okay,
Turkish people, their card, it is 10
10 years.
years. After 10 years, they have to go back to Nofus Modulu to renew, just apply and get a new one. That's it. So, which means that the long term residence permit itself would
Mm.
be either 5 or 10.
It may be maybe 10 because I know Brazil is 10. Long time is 10. 10 years. I'm
Okay.
very sure. Yeah, 10.
Okay.
Maybe 10.
Okay.
Okay, so when you
So,
want to go
so
and renew, we're not gonna be spending up to that amount of money
no,
anymore.
you will not spend all those amount of money because you are already in the system. So just to do the normal application and then you get the renewal.
Okay, sir. Then the citizenship is.
Okay, so let
Is
me
you
get to that. Okay, so for the citizenship, there are three ways you can apply for the citizenship. Number one, through investments, through property investment or bank investment.
mm,
For the bank investment, you have to deposit at least $500,000 in the bank, and you will not touch the money for 3 years. And then within that 3 years or within 1 year after you've made that deposit, you can apply for the citizenship and you will be given. Another way you can also get the citizenship within 6 months is after you have made an investment on property up to $400,000. Before the pandemic, it was 250, but after the pandemic, they increased it to 400,000. So if you buy a property worth $400,000, then you can get citizenship within 6 months.
wow.
Another residence permit that you can also get, which is under short term, is also property. But the property has to be worth $200,000, and it must be in a neighborhood that is open to foreigners. So that means that there are some neighborhoods that have been closed.
Mm,
You just cannot go and buy any house there and then apply for residence permit with it. It has to be within the neighborhood that is open to foreigners. That's very, very
mm.
important. It's very, very important that anyone who wants to make that investment should be aware of.
Okay, so there are some questions from the live viewers. I would like us
Okay.
to take that. We go on again. I think Farida Sharon is asking: Is it possible to open a shop here if you are working with a work permit? Like, how can you be legal and open a small shop? Because I am working with a work permit, but I want to open my own small shop.
Yes. If you have your residence permit or you have your work permit, um you can open a shop. But I would ask the person, you have your work permit. Are you working with the person that gave you that work permit, or you are not working with the person that gave the work permit? Because if you are working with the person that gave that work permit, um, you are under the person. So if you're opening a shop, it's just going to be a side hustle on your own side. And I think you have to put somebody there too to work, to look after the shop. And that
Okay,
can be a challenge, I guess.
so she cannot leave. Okay, if she's working, if the work permit is issued by her employer, you mean she cannot leave the job?
No. Now, that is what a lot of foreigners need to know, especially our people. If you have been given a work, you cannot apply for work permit by yourself. Now, for residence permit, you can apply by yourself, right? But for work permit, you can't apply by yourself. Your employer has to apply to the Ministry of Labor on your behalf.
Mhm.
And then once they have approved it, they will send your blue card to your company, and then your boss will be the one to hand over it to you. Now, that work permit means that you are automatically under your employer. You cannot just jump one day and then decide. you want to leave the job. If you do that, um, you are just killing your legal status because your employer might cancel that permit, and once it is cancelled, you cannot get you cannot swap from work permit to normal tourist permit. The way you can swap is when both of you agree that okay, you are leaving the job, or they say that they can no longer continue to retain you, maybe because of expenses or whatever. When they do that, then they will inform the Ministry of Labor that you are no longer working with them.
Are you serious?
Yes, so within 10 days, you will now have to apply to swap from what's it called? From work permit back to tourist permit. If you elapse 10 days, you become illegal. From the day that they inform the Ministry of Labor that you are no longer with them, your 10 days starts counting. Like
Wow.
last month, I have a member in my church whose wife was trying to renew her residence permit, and the husband had a work permit. So they renewed everything. She renewed everything. She swapped from normal tourist to family, right? Because I told her, since your husband has work permit, you can swap to family. Now that they are rejecting, so to be sure for you to get, you have to swap to family. So they applied, they did everything, and then she was able to swap to family. But within the period, just like immediately after they approved her residence permit, the company sacked the man that they can no longer continue. But she
Oh,
has already been approved for 1 year, so there's no problem with her. So I didn't know that they informed that they sacked the man. I was just checking up on them when they now
mm.
mentioned it. So immediately they mentioned, I said, as we're finishing talking, please let's apply for your swap. When did they, you know, tell you that they're no longer going to continue with it? So it was just on the seventh day, you know. So it was just on the seventh day I got the information. Then I told him, please let us swap from work permit to normal tourist, because he was thinking that on his card it is expiring later this year, like in April. So
Mm-hmm.
he thought that okay, he could still have it. But I told him no, you have 10 days before you can change. So luckily he listened and then he did it, and now they approved it for him for another 1 year. I had
Okay.
another person who was working in a school that had work permit, and at the end of the school session, they relieved, because the school was closing down, they released so many workers. While others were swapping to tourists, he decided to stay, that because his own is still
Mm.
till next year. So he was waiting until when it's going to expire to now reapply. By the time he now did, they rejected because that 10 days
Oh,
has elapsed.
la-
There are a lot of them like that. Anybody, work permit is good, but it is very, very tricky, very
I
dangerous.
was wondering. Yeah,
You can easily lose your legal
every.
status if you are not very, very careful. So, which means that if you're working in a place under work permit, pray that your employer is nice. Be nice to them. Be very good. I mean, let them like you. Because if they don't like you, they can show you pepper, in the sense that they can just
Yeah.
go and tell the Ministry of Education
Negative
and
things.
Labor that you're no longer with them. They cancel it and you don't know. And as you don't know, you think you are legal, they let
Oh,
you go, and
oh,
you're walking about with a blue card that is no longer in the system, no longer active in the system. By the time you now want to apply, you find out that it's no longer there. So it's very important that we maintain that this thing. Whoever you are working with, be in good relationship with the person, with the company. If the pay is not nice, you don't like it, or the job stress is not nice, you speak nicely with them, and then you pull out, and then you apply for a swap. If you just choose, oh, I'm not going to work again, I'll tell my boss one thing. You know how it is with us, we can just do one thing or the other. You are putting yourself in danger. You're putting yourself in danger. So that's it about work permit. That's
Okay, sir.
it.
So
I don't.
for Sharon, she cannot open a shop since she's working with somebody who gave
She
her
can,
work.
but she cannot. She can open, but she cannot be the one like working there. I don't know the understanding that she has with the person who the employer that did the work permit for her. Like I don't understand the because there are some people with some kind of understanding they can just do a work permit for you, but you will be the one to be paying all the bills. There are people like that. Like salary, insurance, you pay it into the employer's account. The employer will send it back to your account. I don't know if you. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that one here, but that's it. So depending on the understanding that she has with the employer, you understand. So, but she can open because it's a business, it's a side hustle. She can open if she has residence permits. She can open, but after 1 year, you would need to also change to work permit,
So, sir,
even though you
sorry,
had a shop.
are you saying are you saying that since
No, 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 no. Both of them stand at the same thing. Now I'm saying that if she swaps, if she wants, she can swap. If she swaps to residence permit, then she can open a shop by herself for her own self to do her own business. She talks with her employer. Everything has to be done, with understanding, cordially. If it's not done like that, it might bring problem for you.
so that
It
means
has to be.
I think at this junction we can make a very important point. So that means if you have work permit, you can't just go and change to tourist permit.
No.
So it has to come from the employer.
Yes, it has to come from the employer. But this is what um, someone did. This is what someone did. Now, there is a Cameroonian in my church then. She had normal residence permit, tourist residence permit, and then she got a job, and then they gave her work permits, right?
Mhm.
So you have your work permit card, which is the blue card, and then she also had the residence permit. Now we advised her that time because that was when they started doing some kind of a rejection or something. So we advised her that
Mm.
time, okay, just renew your residence permit. So she renewed her residence permit and she still had work permit. So she was going with both of them. And after a while, she lost the job. But because she had already renewed residence permit and it is
I
still
mean,
active on the edevlet, she was safe. Okay. So if
okay.
this person doesn't have residence permit at all, only the blue card, it means automatically you are now under that employer. So the employer will have to be the one to detect, like, when they want to let you go or when they don't want to let you go. But if you decide that you want to leave the job, you can put your resignation letter and then you can leave. But the tricky thing also there is that there is a document that your employer will need to give to you that you will show at the immigration. That's why it has to be done, with
Wow.
good understanding. If you're a student, you have gathered all your documents together, you are applying for student residence permit. There is a document that the school has
The
to
school
give to you.
give you, yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the work. There is a
Wow.
document that your employer will need to give to you
So, sir,
that you need to go and
is
submit.
It's right to say that if you get work permit, you don't own yourself anymore.
Yeah, you can say you can say that.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. But like
You
for me
can't
to
just
change it,
jump and do another thing. So my advice is that anybody who, for example, you have a job right now, keep renewing your residence permit and your work permit. Keep both of them active. You
but sir,
understand? Keep both
is it
of them
legal?
active.
Is it is it legal for you to maintain both? Because I understand that you
It's
need one.
wise. It's
Okay.
wise. It's wise. It's not. There's no whether illegal or there's no illegality in that. It's just wise if you can, but it's not necessary. It's not important, rather, but it is
Yeah,
necessary
but to be on a safe side, you
to be
should
on
do
the
that.
safe side. I will personally advise that anybody who can just be renewing a residence permit can go ahead and renew it
Okay, now sir,
based on my
that
past experience.
okay, that brings up a question. If you started with a work permit, what what can you do to have resident permit to be able to mitigate against this that we just discussed?
Nothing.
You will not need to nothing. You cannot
There is
apply for
nothing you
it.
can do. Once you have, if you started with the work permit, there is nothing you can do. You just have to continue with the work permit until when the job, your employer says that the job is over, then you
Oh
can swap.
my god. Oh my god.
Then you
Are you
can
serious?
swap.
What if the employer decide to keep you on the job and he decide to know to be a very hard nut to crack, making it difficult for you to live or just want to make trouble, you know? There are some human beings
Well,
like that. I wouldn't
the
say Turkish people.
The Turkish people are actually not really like the Arabs. You know, those kind of things actually happen, you know, in Arab countries like we used to hear
No,
in
sir,
Qatar and other
sir,
places.
oh, but sir, you know what I mean. You cannot
Yes,
really exempt the Turkish people
yeah, yes, I do, but
because I have sorry sir, I have a sister in church that had an experience with someone she worked for. The first time she came in, she went to do nanny job for the woman. She was the one that helped her. Excuse me. She was the one that helped her to get her resident permit. Got missing all of a sudden. So she said that even the woman was, joined her to look for it. They were searching for it everywhere. But she still insisted that she wanted to leave, that she didn't want to continue with the job. So after some time, when she wanted to renew her resident permit, after they got talking, she explained to me. I said, for you to clear your conscience, why don't you just ask her? Because she said she knew that the woman was the one that took that resident permit because of the way the thing happened. That she asked her to go and do something, and from that day she couldn't find her. She couldn't remember using resident permit. So after that time that she left and she got a job, she was working in a salon, in my salon actually, before she got her own. So what happened? She confronted the woman. The way she answered her, it was very clear. She was the one that took the resident permit, but she couldn't admit it. At the same time, she refused to deny it. So
mm,
that kind of a person, imagine if it was a work permit, what would have happened?
yeah, yeah, and that also brings me to say that these things about housework. Um, Anyone who wants to get a housework must should go through an agency or a trusted agency or someone that you know that knows them.
Hmm.
Okay. Because in times like this, when there is or when there are conflicts, these people can mitigate,
Mm.
see that these things are resolved. cordially. If you are just browsing on the internet and then you just see one person's number, you just call and they say, okay, come, and then you just start working like that. Nobody brought you, nobody introduced you. Uh, and of course, they will be so nice to you, blah, blah, blah. And they will, maybe, probably, they might even be paying you cheaper. It's because when conflict arises, they know that you don't know the law, you don't know where to go to, you don't know who to call, blah, blah, blah. So they take advantage of
Advantage.
our
Yes.
ignorance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whoever is going for job like babysitting job like that, go through an agency, a trusted agency, or go through someone who knows them, and maybe they introduce you based on the person's relationship. And
Okay.
then if one or two conflict comes or arises, you have somewhere to fall back to that can help talk to them. And
Yes.
they themselves too can check their conscience and, try to behave well.
Okay, sir.
But for all these other companies, established companies like in a factory or in an office or in a school, they do things professionally. They do things professionally. Like for myself, when I was in a school working and I was using work permit for quite a long time, when I wanted to swap, it wasn't a problem for me. It wasn't
Okay.
a
So
problem for me. So
thank you.
that's it.
Thank you for that. I think there are two questions, a lot of questions actually, in the comment section. Sharon also said, "Yes, I'm working with my boss who gave me the work permit. So will a resident permit be possible?" I think you have answered that. You said it's not possible.
Well,
If you
at this
started with the
point now, at this point for her, it's not going to be possible because she doesn't have the residence permit card.
permit.
Yeah,
So the
so it's
only
not going
way
to be
that
possible.
the only way that she can get a resident permit is if the boss will
Leaves
visit
the
her
job. Yes. Yeah.
and he will give
Yes.
her a document with which she will go to the immigrations. So
Yes.
without
Yes.
that,
Yes.
without that, it will be
Without that, you will not. And she must apply within 10 days.
wow,
She must apply
wow.
within 10 days.
I think another person asked, Abiodu is asking, I have a work permit. Can I apply for a resident permit? Is the same? Is the see? Is a
No,
lot of
no, no,
people
no. They can't.
have this issue. You see that? So, but if what if, for example, Abiodun had work permit, resident permit before she got work permit, but she didn't renew it again because she already got work permit. Can she go back
It's
to the
gone.
resident?
No, it's
It's
gone.
gone.
It's gone. Yes, that one is gone.
So you would
It must be
advise that
active.
you must be active. So you would
Yes.
advise that if you have resident permit, if you get work permit, continue to maintain your resident permit because of eventualities. In
Yeah.
case of in case,
If they can,
right?
I mean, if the expenses is not something too much for them, if they can, but it's not something compulsory. But I would advise that someone
Okay,
do
now
so.
let me break it down for those that are still online. The pros and cons of work permit. Work permit will give you more opportunities. Maybe if you want to apply for visa, right, or you want to, you will have access to government support like health insurance. I think you can also get health insurance with resident permit.
You have to buy. You have to subscribe to it privately. The
If you
one you
have
use, the one you usually get when you are applying for residence permit doesn't count. You can't use that one for anything at the hospital.
mhm,
You can only go after you've gotten your residence card. Then you can now go and apply for a special health insurance that you will now be paying every month.
every month. But if you have
Yes.
work permit, it's free. You don't have to pay every month because you're already
If you
paying
have
tax.
work permit, your company pays.
Pays for your health insurance.
Yes.
But if you have resident permit and you apply for that proper health insurance, you'll be the one to pay monthly.
Yes.
Okay. So now you see the pros and cons. Work permit gives you more access to government help like health insurance. You heard him. your company will be the one to pay for the monthly tax or health payment, health dues or fees, I will call it. But if you have resident permit and you have health insurance, you're the one that will pay for that monthly dues. Then if you have work permit, you can apply for visa and you have more advantage over someone that has just normal resident permit, like tourist resident permit. But the cons, if you have work permit, you must be in good terms with your employer. So that means your employer owns you in the country, because he can destroy your legality. He can, if he's not in good terms with you, or if you upset him, he can wake up and just go and cancel it without even telling you. So
Can I say
that,
something? Can I say something, please?
yes, yes, go ahead.
I'm reading what people are saying in the comment section that you cannot hold residence permit and work permit at the same time because it is the same Kimlik number that is there. Yes, you guys are correct, but I'm saying from a past experience I had with someone, by the time she lost work permit, because the residence permit itself is still active, that was what helped her to renew her stay in the country. Now, of recent times, I've not seen anybody holding work permit and residence permit at the same time. But um, anybody can try it if you still have residence permit and you just got a work permit. Before that residence permit expires, it's just an advice that you can try to renew it because swapping from work permits back to residence permits, it's very tricky. If you miss the timing, if you miss one thing or the other, your legal status is deactivated. All right.
Wow.
But to be on the safer side, you can renew your residence permit. The immigration, I don't think they will cancel your residence permit on their system, except you did not renew it. It still stays active until the expiring date, you know,
Okay, okay.
is due.
Let me put it another way for them to understand better. The government doesn't require you to renew your resident permit once you have work permit. But he's saying,
Yeah.
yeah, based on his experience, it's better for you to go ahead and keep it active if you already have resident permit, because of unforeseen circumstances. You don't know how what is going to happen. You don't even know the intentions of your employer. Anything can happen, no matter how the situation is with you and him or her. You don't know what is going to happen, because you don't even know their intentions. For a Turkish person to give you work permit, I don't know if I should add this here. You know, because he knows that he has control over you with that work permit, so he will want you to be at his beck and call. You understand? So if you already have resident permit, he's advising that you should go ahead and keep it active. But the government doesn't expect you, or they don't require you to do so, but just for you to be on a safe side. Okay, is that okay? You say Sharon, we already said that you cannot apply for resident permit unless you are going to get a document from your employer. That means he's going to release you to leave the job. If not, you just have to maintain the work permit for now until you are sure you want to leave the job. That's from the explanation, the discussion that we just had. Please, what can I do in this situation? Because my resume is expired and I want to renew. Do I need to ask the company for a letter? Yes. Maybe you didn't join us when we started. If you want to renew your resident permit, it's expired. Please, I don't
If it
understand the
expired,
question.
I think what the person is saying is that she has work permit, but the residence permit, the tourist residence permit has expired. Can she renew? No, you can't renew. It's expired already. You can't. You have to continue with work permit. If you want to leave the job, then you can now leave the job and then swap from work permit to residence permit back.
Okay. So in this case, now let's assume that maybe she wants to leave the job, or they've asked her to stop work or something, and now she found
Mm.
out that her resident permit is expired.
It's
So
not
what
a
will she do?
problem. Within 10 days from the day they tell her that your services are no longer needed, she has 10 days to apply for a swap back to residence permit.
Even if even if it had expired.
Yes, even if it has expired. No problem about that.
Oh, okay.
No problem
So
about that.
I hope your question is answered. I'm reading the Fanta's comments. As soon as your application is approved for the work permit, the immigration will cancel your resident permit because it's
Yeah,
your resident permit.
I read that. It's not that's not it. They don't cancel it.
Okay. Then Umar is in support of that her comment, but he said we can renew the residence. No, you can't renew your resident permit with your. Yeah, that's Umar Oseni. That's what he said. The government doesn't require you to renew it, but you can go ahead and maintain the status for your good. If you have work
If
permit,
you
can
want.
you invite a family member to talk? Yes, we already discussed that. You can invite once you have a work permit, you can invite your family member from your country, especially your spouse and your kids. Okay. Sorry, we had to like take the questions. Let's round up, sir. When it comes to citizenship, you know that a lot of people ask some questions when we started before we diverted on the work. You said that you can buy property worth
Yep.
$400,000
Yes.
within 6 months.
Yes.
If
Within 6 months, then you can get your citizenship approved.
so sorry, I want to. I'm coming there now. I want to find out now. Now, within 6 months, is it within 6 months of you entering the country, or within 6 months you must finish the payment?
The payment is done instantly
So when you say within six months, what does that mean?
from the day you apply for citizenship.
Okay, so you can apply even before buying the property.
No, you buy the property. After you've
Mm,
bought the property, you've been given your deed and your tapu and everything. All your documents are complete. Then
mm.
you now apply for citizenship. So from the day you apply for the citizenship through a lawyer, the time it takes to get an
Sorry.
approval to get your passport
Oh,
is 6 months.
okay, okay. Now I understand that. I wanted you to clarify that. So within it will come out within 6 months of
Yeah,
application. So outside the buying, outside investment, how else will you get citizenship? By
through
marriage?
marriage,
Yes.
marriage.
Okay, it's only two
That's it.
ways you can
Yes, marriage and investment.
an
And
investment.
then okay, let me not go there. Just through marriage and investment, that's how you can get citizenship.
Which other one are you hiding from us? Don't hide up the updates now.
No, because
Why are you hiding
I
updates
met.
from us?
No, I'm not. It's just that I met a guy at the airport. If you go to the airport right now, like the arrival, there is a black guy working at the one of the telephone companies there stands. Maybe you must
Mm,
have seen the person. There's a black guy work. He's from Senegal, so he got his residence permit through a direct order from Erdogan. That's what he told me anyway. But I don't know how true is that. He
okay.
just said that someone just took him to meet Erdogan when he came to Istanbul some time ago at to pray at the mosque. So Edwin just saw him, liked him, blah blah blah, and that's just said they should just give him. There was a period whereby the government were giving Syrians residence permit. Giving Syrians citizenship. I don't know if you were there, if you were here then. You know,
No.
Okay.
There was a time in 2020 now, 2020, they gave about 44,000 Syrian citizenship.
Okay.
So I think that period, that was when that one that happened to him. But I don't know how true it is, but that's what he told me. So
Then for the long-term permit, I'm thinking that is indefinite.
it's indefinite now, but you will renew it because they're Turkish, this thing they renew. So you will renew it
Uh,
when it is time.
so
It's not
is
as if
there
like,
can there be any reason? Because if it happens to be normal resident permit, you know that if you don't meet the requirements, they will not approve it.
that's what it
So
means. Yeah.
so is it applicable to long term?
Yes. You must meet the requirement, and the major requirement is that once you are given that long term permit, it's not that you take it and then you go back to your country and continue life. You stay for 1 year, you stay for 2 years. No, you must still be in the country. You must be still doing your business because that is a way of uh, revenue also for the government. Like you are contributing to the country economically. So if you get your long-term residence permit and then you go back to Nigeria or wherever and then you stay 2 years, 3 years, they cancel it. So getting the
Wow.
long term doesn't mean that you can just come into the country and leave anytime you may. No, it means that you are here.
Okay, it's only when you are a citizen that you can do that.
Yeah, it's only
You
when
can
you
travel.
have the citizenship that you can travel and stay outside as long as you can, and then you come back.
Okay, sir.
But
Before we go on, can we take? I want us to be taking the questions as they are dropping, so that we don't get overwhelmed. He said, if you have work permit, can you invite? Okay, we've answered that. He said, Oseni said, yeah, that happens. A presidential directive can be made for citizenship. I think you can get citizenship after using work permit for 5 years.
I
Citizenship,
mentioned
not
that before. I
okay.
mentioned that before.
So if you have work permit and you have worked for 5 years, you can apply for citizenship.
Yes, you can
Okay, that
apply for a citizenship.
then
But that's not an,
Sharon is
that. But that is not an automatic approval. It depends on where you are from. It depends the government. It depends on
on what
bureaucracy.
okay. Okay, but if it happens to be marriage or investment, that one is automatic.
Yeah, that one is sure.
Okay.
Even marriage is still subjective because they will need to prove if it is real or not.
Are you serious?
Yeah, now because of this contract thing,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
have to prove. You have to prove to them that it is real.
It's real.
The other
Okay, then
question says, how long
how
after
long
marriage?
after marriage can you get the citizenship, please? Oh my God, Sharon is getting married. Is that what
For
I'm seeing?
the uh, for the female is 1 year. For the male is 3 years.
Okay, if um a female, a lady
Yes.
gets married to a Turkish man, after one
Uh,
year she gets citizenship.
yes.
But if he's a foreigner, a
A
male
male.
immigrant gets married to a Turkish lady, it takes 3 years before he can get.
Yes.
Why the difference in duration?
I'll go and ask the lawmakers. That's it. That's the law now.
We want to know, sir, because I'm like, what's that? Okay, because the lady is the one gonna leave their country. I'm trying to understand why is it not the same duration?
Well, I never thought it that way though, but that's just the law. For men it's 3 years, for female is 1 year. Never
Uh,
like questioned it or something asking why, but I think that's
okay,
it.
okay. So, sir, what and what do they consider to approve citizenship by marriage?
Number one, you're living together. Number two, your neighbors can testify that yes, two of you are married. And if there are children, the chances are much better.
Okay. Wow. But are you gonna
Yeah.
get married and get pregnant within 1 year? Yeah, it's possible. What? But why
Mm,
do they have
possibly.
to do that?
They don't actually consider the. I'm just saying that, which because in the interview they'll ask
If you have
if there
kids.
are kids. Yes, yes, they'll ask. So
Okay.
once you have kids, the chances are much better. But they will come to the house. They will come to your house, check. When you enter a married person's house, you see photos, you see all those
Yeah.
things.
I think
They
that's the
will
same
ask.
thing in the US. They do that.
Yeah, they will ask your neighbors if you are living in a place where there is a security. They will ask the security. They will look at the security cameras just to be sure. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah, that's
Wow.
that's it.
That's awesome. So, sir, let's go to the student permit. If you are done with school and you still want to continue your stay in Turkey, what is the best bet for you? How do you switch to tourist permit? And for how long
Okay.
should you for when are you supposed to do that? Is it right away, or you can continue with your student resident permit, and when is about to expire, then you can apply for swap?
Okay, thank you. It's the same process for work permits. The moment you finish schooling, you've
Mm.
graduated, and your results and everything has been uploaded to your edevlet. That means you're done. So the moment all those things are done, you have to apply for swapping within that 10 days. You mustn't miss that 10 days. If you miss the 10 days, you can't get it.
Okay.
Now, last June, a good number of students in my church graduated after studying for 4 years. So when they were applying to change, some were given 6 months, 7 months, some were given 1 year. Now, why the disparity in the number of months given, I don't know, but that's just what happened. One was given 6 months at first. After the first 6 months, she reapplied again. She was given 7 years. One was given 1 year straight up. When she was renewing, she was given an additional 1 year. Now, I
Wow.
don't know why is that, but that's just what is happening. Now,
Sorry.
before, after
Okay.
you've, okay,
Sorry, sir. The one that applied and they gave him or her 7 years, did she apply for 7 years? Or
7 months, not years.
okay. Sir, I was like, what kind of a
7 months,
tongue
bro.
is
No,
that?
that's 7 months.
Okay, okay, okay. Wow, that's awesome. So sorry, you can
Normally,
continue.
normally, once you are swapping, they usually give 1 year. But because since April 2024,
Mm.
they started this 6 months thing. That's
Yeah,
why it's affecting them as
but I
well.
think I think they changed their law this year. They started giving 1 year again from this year.
Mhm. Well, I've not seen the ones I've done so far. They've not given them 1 year. It has been 6 months.
It's still 6 months.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it's still 6 months. But if you after the 6 months you reapply again, they still give you the additional 6 months. But a straight up 1 year is either family, work permit, or yeah. Those are the only or health,
yeah, but
tourism, health.
my boss told me talked about new law that they will start giving, that they started giving 1 year for from this year.
Let's wait and see then.
You know, the law changes every year. You know,
Yeah, every, January, April, they do one or two things to get to change the decision.
to change the laws. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, so
they
somebody
do.
have a question. He said, please, where can I apply for the resident permit, please? Sharon, you already said you have work permit. You cannot, you started with work permit. You cannot apply for resident permit unless you want to terminate your employment. And that will have to come from your boss because you can't just leave. He's the one that gave you the work permit, so you can't leave. You have to have understanding with him before you can leave the job. From what we have discussed so far, I think you'll be able to understand the reasons why. Please, if I understand, I can't apply for the resident permit because I have a work permit now. Is that it? Yes, that is it because you started with work permit. So if you want to change to a resident permit, that means you don't want to continue with the employment, and your boss has to okay it. Yes. Thank you so much. So, sir, you said that when they want to change from student to tourist, the school also had to initiate that. They will give
Yes,
them
yes.
they will need to give them a document for them to
Everything will be uploaded to the edevlet
do devlet,
system. You
and they
download all what you need from edevlet.
and they have 10 days to also do that.
They have 10 days to do that.
Okay. Thank you so much. I we still have a lot to
Okay.
discuss, but the time is fast spent. Do you want to continue, sir, or we should have a part?
Mm, it depends on the area. I'm trying to check my note here. Um, I've mentioned student long term. Okay, there is another residence permit called humanitarian residence permit, but many of us from African countries don't fall under this category.
Hmm.
It's actually those who are, they're having war or they're escaping human trafficking from their country
Hmm.
that can be granted this permits. Well, that's basically all. Another thing I will need to state here is the issue of address. 99% of the reason why a lot of people get rejected,
Hmm.
even after they have provided everything, they applied on time and all, maybe they've even stayed in the country only 3 years or 4 years. The only reason why they get rejected is because of the irregularity of their address. You don't have what is called nofus. Now, nofus, what is nofus? Nofus is just like it's a population sensor, okay? It's where your address, the place you are living, is stated in on the government system, on the e-devlet. Now, you can't say I have nofus. Are you living where that nofus is? That's number one.
Mhm.
Number two, there are some neighborhoods that are closed. So if somebody is moving from one house to another house, you will need to transfer your address to another house. That other house that you are going must be a place that is not closed to foreigners. Now, let me explain. You are living in SN Youth, in a particular place in SN Youth, and you have no foods in that place, right?
Yeah.
But we know that SN Youth is closed. Now, if you are going to apply for renewal in the same address, you will
Mhm.
be given. There's no problem because you are already registered on the system and you are on the same address. No problem about that. But if you have to move from that address to another address to a place that is closed to foreigners, it might be a challenge for you. Okay, it might be a challenge for you. By the time you now want to go and change your address, they might tell you that it is closed. So, which means that if you are moving house from one house to another, please find out if it is open to foreigners for address
Post.
registration. That's one. Number two, if you now move, okay, if you move, make sure you notify the immigration that you have moved. You can go online, book an appointment, go with your notarized house contract to the immigration to get your address updated. If you don't do that and you apply for renewal, even if the nofus is not cancelled on your edevlet, you can still see it there. The
Mm.
same person might have, and the landlord might have given the house to another person. And that
Mm.
person, if the person is like a foreigner, for example, that person might have gone to update it that that's where the person is living. Or if the
Mm.
person is a Turkish person, the person might have gone to say, I am living here with all the contracts and everything. So even if yours is still there on the system, and then you now go and apply and use it to apply, they will not give you because it is not, that's not legal. That's the reason why they will reject you. 90% of the reasons why they reject foreigners this last flow, like since last year, no, since last 2022 up to now, is because of the address. People live in house A on the system, on their cards, it is registered, their address is house B. Now, when they go there, you notice that they started sending immigration officers to houses where foreigners are registered. At least in
Yes.
my house, they came.
Yes.
Okay. So they go to ask, is this person living here? And if you live in a house whereby there's a security man in all these condos, they will ask the security, does this person live there? And if the security man says no, they don't know this person, that's it for you.
Wow.
They
Wow.
will notify it
Wow.
on the system. You will not know. They, and sometimes they might even send you a message to go and update your address. Like I know of someone who was applying for residence permit. He applied for his residence permit, used his um old nofus. Now, because he's still in the scope of 5 years, after he had applied, and then within the period he applies for his residence permit, I think before, when you apply, you submit. It will take maybe like 3 days, 4 days before they start checking your file, right?
Yeah.
Now, within that period, he had problem with the landlord. He had to move from that house immediately. Immediately he was moving from the house, the landlord brought in somebody else, and then they updated the address
Oh.
on the system.
Oh.
Yes. So after like 10 days or so, the immigration has sent this guy a message that he should go and update his address.
Okay.
So when he came to me and explained the whole thing, I said, this is what must have played out. You have to update. So he quickly, he had 30 days. So within that 30 days, he had to update, change house, get a new contract, and then went back and submit, and he was given renewal. So address right now is
Very important.
very, very
Very, very.
important
Yeah.
for tourist stay. For students, those who are under students permit, you can live anywhere. There is no place closed to you. You
Yeah.
can get a house in SNU, you can get in Abdullah, you can get anywhere. So long as you are a student, you can live anywhere. The important thing is that once you get your house, make sure that you get a contract from your house owner that is signed, notarized copy. That's all you need. And if you live in a shared apartment, you are sharing an apartment with some people, try and get a bill under your name.
Same.
Okay? Either one person has light and the other person has water, the other one has gas, and maybe, okay, there's no telephone. But at least any of the utility bill, make sure you have one on your name because you would need to
Yeah.
submit that. These are all the new things that they just brought in. Many of us didn't. I mean, before it was not there, but
It
as the
was not.
year goes, they keep adding one thing or the other, making it more difficult. So address, please. It is very, very important. Please try and update your address. Make sure that it is correct.
Very,
So
very
that's
important.
it.
Thank
That
you so
yeah,
much. It's
that's
fine,
it.
Shet. Thank you so much for taking time to explain that in details. So there's a question that somebody asked. He said, "Can
Okay.
you change from student permit to work permit?"
You have to change to tourist permit first before you change to work permit.
Oh, okay. Then we have some questions from the live participants. Sharon said, no, Joshua said, please, what are the procedure of inviting someone? Will I use the company or by myself? For those that
You
have
use
work
your
permit.
card. Once since you have a work permit, you use your work permit. You just go to the notary. You go to the notary. You tell them that you need an invitation letter. You go with the person's passport copy, and they have a template. They have a template in the notary where you can
Mhm.
make the invitation letter. They will ask you who is this person to you. So that's where you will now state that the person is your family member, is your spouse, or whoever the person is to you. Then that's it. With the documents, you will scan it and send it. Um, the notary will also notify the embassy in the country there that so person has done this letter, and then
Okay.
that's it. The person will now have to put documents together, go to the embassy and submit, and then the rest is left with the consular.
So what kind of documents now? If the person has to go to the immigrations to get the letter of invitation for his family or her family back home, which
Mm.
other document is the person supposed to, put together? Is it from the company or by yourself?
No, 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 no.
Are you getting
You
any
need to
document from
send to the embassy or to notary.
no to invite somebody now, and if he gets the invitation letter from the notary, is there any other document he needs to because he said he has to put other documents together? What kind of documents will he get? Document
Okay,
from the company?
a
is,
copy
is the
of
company
his.
going to is the
Okay, let me
company going
answer
to
the question.
yeah.
I get the question. A copy of your um, work permit, front and back. A letter from the company stating that you are working with them. Your
Yeah.
bank statement. Your SEGECA, which is your health insurance. It is downloaded from the edevlet. Your criminal record is downloaded from the edevlet. And yes, your Sega card, that one is a lot of this, up to 11 to 12 copies of that. It's downloaded from the edevlet. Your company letter stating that you are working with them, copy of your work permits, criminal record, bank statements. Because on the invitation letter, what the template they have in notary states that you are responsible to take care of them while they are here. So they are coming under you. So your bank statement will also need to show that you are capable of taking care of them. So that's it.
Uh, Joshua, I hope your question has been answered. Then Sharon also said, please, what can be the reason they refuse the resident permit if you stop working and you want to apply for the resident permit? He said, okay, so let me allow you to answer that. I know you have already answered.
If you didn't apply within 10 days from the day your company notifies the Ministry of Labor that you are no longer with them, if you didn't apply within that 10 days,
Mm.
then there is 100% chance that you would be denied residence permits or automatically. Secondly, um, if you don't have nofus, if you have issues with your address, you will be rejected.
So, sir, for you to have work permit, you must have nofus.
Well, they will just ask you for your address because it is the employer that is going to apply for you.
Okay,
Yes,
Okay.
you're employed at so they'll just ask you to fill out your address where you are living. That's
Yeah,
all.
okay, maybe because they know that if they want you, you are wanted. Your employer, yeah, can supposed to
Yeah,
provide your whereabouts. Okay, so when it comes to tourist resident permits, then they are very, very, very serious about your nufus. That's your address because they need to know where you live
yeah,
in case they
yeah.
give. Yes. So I hope your question has been answered, Sharon. Please, what are the documents to ask for a work visa? Okay, maybe you want to invite somebody from your country. What documents to ask for a work visa? I think people come in with work visa, business visa. We didn't touch those ones, and we can't even take more. Do we have that time to go into that details? Even the edevlet for them to see how they can check.
Because we are using the phone now, we cannot share the screen.
Right.
Um, what's it called? For a work visa, the person applies to the company. The persons in Africa applies to the company here for job, right? Then once the job has been approved, the employer says, "Okay, I want you to come over." The employer will now send information to the Ministry of Labor about you, and then they will notify the embassy. Your contract, a contract document is prepared stating that you have been employed. Okay, so they need the embassy in your country to grant you the visa so that you can come over and, sign up all the documents and then continue your work. So that's how it is. So that's all you need. Okay, that's all you need. Just the contract copy
Mm-hmm.
from the employer. That's all you need to get a visa to come. Then once you come, the employer knows what to do. The employer knows what to do to get you work permit card.
Okay, so the company that will send you invitation.
Yes,
Sorry.
everything. I'm busy. I'm busy.
Okay, but first of all, the person has to apply from his country
Yes,
to the
yes, yes, yes.
company. So when the
Yes,
company accepts, they will put together the document for him to go for the visa.
yes.
Is that is the question?
What the company is sending here is the contract signed by the employer here. Okay, that you have got. They have granted you a job. They've given you a job. You are employed, so they need a visa. They know how to
Okay.
prepare it. It's from notary and all. So they will send it to you. You go to the embassy with it. That's it.
Yeah. So that one now stands as invitation
Work
letter.
visa. Yes, yes. So on your
Invitation letter.
visa, it will be stated work visa.
Work visa. Yes. What of
Yeah.
the people that we didn't even touch business visa? Those are gonna be applying
It's the
for.
same process. It's the same process too. The company here will send you the letter, an invitation letter that they're inviting you to come over for business.
Mhm. So
So
when
when you
you
go to the embassy, you can now apply for business visa. So
so
they'll give
when
you
you
the visa and it is written business visa.
so when you come in, you will have to apply for business permit,
Short term,
short
short
term
term
business.
permits. Yes, for business. The same company and it must be the same company. You can't use another company.
But
The
sir, it
same
wasn't like
company.
that. It was not like that before.
Before they consider business visa as same as tourist visa, they just
Tourist,
give short
yeah.
term 1 year. But
Mhm.
now it has changed. If you come in with a business visa, there is 50, it is 50-50 that you can get permit.
Because
Okay.
it must be the company that would
Yes,
process
it must be
it.
the same company that gave you invitation It is the same company. They will send you all the documents, and you go to immigration. But right now, they don't give more than 3 months, 6 months maximum for business
For business visa.
visa. Yes,
Wow.
they don't give more than 6 months, and
Because
you cannot renew it.
you cannot renew it.
You cannot renew it
So you have
except you swap.
except you swap. But
Yes,
what's the success rate if you want to swap
to students.
to students? What of to tourists?
No, it's the same thing now. It's the same short term now.
Because they'll be wondering, you came to do business. Why do you want to tour our country now?
Yeah, because that time they've given you, you have enough time to do business and then tour.
And tour, yes, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so that means you can't change from business to tourist. You can change from business to student.
yeah. You can change to student, or you can change to property or
Prop
medical.
medical. Wow. So I think we'll have a part two. We can a lot of questions I wanted to ask, but the time. Oh my goodness, it's already 10. Oh my goodness.
Not 10.
It's already 10.
It's already 10 already.
My goodness. Please, I don't know if you have any questions. If you have any questions, just send it to me as a message. We will have another session to continue, please. I think we exceeded our time. We plan to have like 1 hour discussion, but now is over almost 2 hours, and we'll have other plans. We'll have other programs already planned. Um, Thank you so much for joining. I would have loved to recap what has been discussed, but we don't really have the time. I think we'll use it as introduction for the part two. So if you have any question, please send to my DM so that we can start with that or those for this for the part two. I want to thank all the participants. I want participants, and I want to believe that you got value from this live. May God bless you, and see you again very soon. Esin Pastor Steve, thank you so much for joining us. We really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
having you. I will look
All right.
forward to it. God bless you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Bye,
you. Bye bye. Bye
everyone.
bye.
Bye.